over there with all that racket? What's in those surroundings? Sounds like they're having a good time back there.
Big poker game.
Yeah.
Are you sure there was nothing in the brownies, Your Honor?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They are
All right.
gone.
You are still under oath to tell the truth, and you may continue, or begin, I should say.
Good afternoon, Special Agent Hess. How are you?
Good afternoon. Fine, thank you.
I'm going to ask you some questions, starting off with just some background stuff so we can understand these things, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been an FBI agent for over 10 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you normally handle federal offenses, correct?
No, that's not correct.
That is not correct. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. How do the federal law enforcement authorities get involved in a crime of this nature?
As a member of the Violent Crime Task Force, we have a joint task force that works closely with local, state, county law enforcement who are part of a federally sponsored task force with the FBI.
Okay. And are these like county-wide or city-wide? In other words, is this something to do with Armada, with the state of Michigan, or more with...
It would be the state of Michigan as they're certified, and we deputize them as well as federal task force officers, so they have federal jurisdiction as well.
Okay, and if I understand it correctly, the FBI has a great deal of labs and all sort of scientific sciences out there, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times, whether an agency is involved or not, sometimes they ask for the FBI for assistance in analyzing things, correct?
That's correct.
And in this case, you were brought in mostly because of your specialization in the cell phone area?
Not specifically for that reason. There was a variety of reasons that I was asked to come up.
Okay, what was your initial involvement in this case, if you recall?
My initial involvement was we were deployed up to Armada, our task force, to assist with canvassing, establishment of a command post, and to identify any areas where we could lend assistance.
Okay, and then at some point, were you provided cell phone information that you used to make those charts?
Yes.
And who provided you that information?
It came from a variety of sources, officers that were involved in the investigation. A considerable amount of the records were given to me by Detective Sergeant Sanchez from Michigan State Police.
Okay, and I think you said perhaps indirect, were some that you elicited yourself from Verizon or some of the companies?
No, I didn't elicit any of the records myself.
You did not, okay.
Right.
So you got everything that was handed to you. Were you given the crucial time period? Were you given the time period to analyze?
Yes.
And what was that time period, if you recall?
July 24, 2014.
Okay, from approximately what time to what time, if you recall?
It was wide open.
Okay, were you informed that alleged offense occurred sometime around 6:45 p.m.?
Yes, approximately the time that the 911 calls came in, that information was provided, yes.
Okay. And now you were given multiple people's phone records, is that correct? Or just Mr. VanCallis's and April Millsap's?
There was multiple records.
Multiple records. And if you recall, what period of calls did you actually look at for, let's just start off with Mr. VanCallis?
It was during the date of July 24, 2014, reviewed the records throughout the course of the day.
Okay, so just so we have some idea, would that be like right from midnight to midnight, or would that have been from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., or?
Could be roughly midnight to midnight. I don't know specifically what I reviewed.
Okay. And is that the same protocol you followed in looking at April Millsap's and the other individuals' telephone records?
Yes.
Was that crucial period, that day of the 24th, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And when you made these charts, did you plot all the calls that were made, or just the ones that you felt were pertinent?
I honed in on a specific time frame and then plotted the calls that were pertinent within that time frame.
Okay. Can you put up this one? I don't know what number it was. Agent has something to ask you, though, if you would step back.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So just so if I remember correctly from your direct testimony, these red pie shapes are not to indicate range, but just location, correct?
Correct.
It's not indicating the distance, correct?
Correct.
Or how far a call from here could reach. You're not trying to show that, right?
Right.
Okay. And these are things that you created from the data that you received, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't want to misuse the word, is that, would you call that a pie, or what do you refer to?
I would refer to that as a pie shape. Yeah.
Okay. And these are the calls that you found pertinent, right?
Right.
From the records. Now, do you know that there was a call at 1808? Is that anywhere in your records? Do you have any recollection of that?
I don't recall it.
Okay. Would that fit within this time frame, or was that outside the time frame that you were looking to analyze?
It would fit in the time frame.
Okay. You can sit back down, please. Detective, I'm an agent. I'm going to ask you to look at something, and just take a brief look at this. This is made from data that was provided to us during discovery. It indicates a call at 1808, and I believe that this is April Millsap's Fitbit. Does that ring a bell in any way of one of the calls that was during that crucial period?
I can't say because that's not the call detail record.
That's not the call detail record that you had to work with.
Right.
Put up this one. I remember the number. Exhibit number. 155. Especially, and I hate to have you keep getting up and down.
Okay.
Now, this band, by the same token, you just put that for illustration purposes, is that correct?
Right.
That's not signifying any kind of signal capabilities, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean by signal capability.
Well, is this somehow saying that this yellow area is all within one tower or all within one sector, or are you just showing where these things are relative to each other?
That's all Tower 777 Sector 1.
777 Sector 1, okay. What is the range of that tower, if you know?
If we pull up the other slide, that has the full breadth of it.
Okay. Do you know which one that is, Detective Pete? This one?
Yes.
Okay. So is that the one that you indicated was 0.6 miles?
The yellow band represents the 0.6 miles.
Okay.
The rest is, the remainder of the sector.
Okay, maybe I'm not understanding this. The Sector 777 is all of this?
Yes.
Okay.
777 is the tower number. Sector 1 is represented by that.
Sector 1 is represented by this band? Well,
No,
just,
this is all Sector 1. That band falls within Sector 1.
okay. So now, I'm not familiar with that area. Is Burville a city, or do you know, is that a municipality up there?
Yes.
Allenton, same thing?
Yes.
So, just so ladies and gentlemen of the jury are clear, all of this is not only from one tower, which is 777, but one sector of that tower. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And the 0.6 miles refers to what?
Where that device was, as far as distance goes from the tower.
By that device, you're talking about the phone, or?
That telephone number, 810-689-7759.
Okay.
The phone that number is assigned to is located 0.6 miles from the tower.
Okay, again, I just want to go this nice and slow. This is all one tower, one sector of one tower.
Right.
So this call that was made from 0.6 miles within this range, is that correct?
No, this represents 0.6 miles, so in other words,
Oh, okay.
in other words, this is all eliminated.
Okay,
That's where that phone was.
okay. Okay, thank you. You can take that down. Sir, you said you did go out to Armada, correct?
Yeah.
Do you remember how long after the scene you went out there?
It was the early afternoon of the following day, so the 25th is when I arrived at the command post.
And did you physically drive by where the young lady's body was found?
During the course of the investigation, yes, I
You
did.
did, okay. And also from there to where the telephone was recovered?
Yes.
Okay, and then did you also follow the path to where the defendant's telephone calls were made that you indicated in Richmond and Romeo?
By follow the path, do you mean drive it? Or
Yes, did you drive it?
During the course of the drive testing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And while you were doing this, were you making telephone calls, or do you have something that measures signals? How are you getting the information you need about these towers?
It's a test phone, a test Verizon phone with software that measures the signals of the phone in what we refer to as an idle state.
Okay. Now, did you come to find out how big Armada is at any point?
How big?
The village of Armada is?
I'm sorry?
How big the village of Armada is?
I don't know specifically.
If we had the chief testify earlier that it was approximately 1 square mile, do you have any reason to doubt that?
No.
Okay. So in the area of 1 square mile, two people that are in relatively other parts of the town could still be on the same cell tower or same section, correct?
Yes.
Without being in contact with each other, correct?
Correct.
And none of these charts or figures or analysis shows any different, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean by it.
Well, what I'm saying is that none of these charts that were shown earlier, that Mr. Daly put up, and a couple of them that I referred to, none of them are meant to convey to the jury anything other than the fact that two people can be within the same cell tower range and not necessarily be with each other, right? That was never the purpose, wasn't to show that somehow April and Mr. VanCallis were right next to each other or anything like that, correct?
The point of it was to show where one phone was at a point in time.
Okay, and then also relative to different locations, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But certainly not anything occurring between the two of them, right?
Right.
Any signals or anything?
They were two different carriers.
Do you recall what was the Verizon, I believe, was Mr. VanCallis. Do you recall what April's was?
I believe it was AT&T.
Now, in doing this investigation and you find out that somebody's used tower like 777, did you ever go back to analyze to see how many times Mr. VanCallis's telephone had used that same cell tower?
Over what time frame?
Over the time period that you were asked to look at it, within that time frame even, within let's say 30 days of July 24th.
No.
15 days prior, 15 days then. Is that information that you could have received or that you could have acquired?
It was contained in the call detail record.
Okay. So you just didn't plot it, correct?
Right, because it wasn't relevant
Okay.
to the investigation at that
Yeah,
point.
okay. Just one second. I'm going to approach you. The judge has given me continuous
Okay.
permission.
Tower 777. Okay. It's Mr. VanCallis' number. If you want to verify it.
Correct.
And then the number of times that it was used within the past, within this time period. It's 131. 586 cells found. Is that the same? Is there any reason about that?
I can't say one way or the other.
Agent, what I've shown you is something that purports to be Mr. VanCallis' cell phone download of the towels used by his phone, including the number on there, which I'll read into the record, 810-689-7759. To the best of your recollection, is that Mr. VanCallis' number, or would you like to see it brought back up?
No, I recall it is.
Okay. And you did indicate that this was tower 777, right?
Yes.
That you analyzed. And I showed you on here that for this period of time, within this 12-month period, it was 586 calls were placed within that sector. Would you have any reason to dispute that?
I have no idea what the source of that information
Well,
is.
this is from the data that was supplied to us in discovery from the prosecutor's office, not exactly in the form that you may have seen it, but basically you have indicated that it is possible to download information from a tower to see how many times a certain tower was used by a certain telephone, correct?
Right, and they're contained in the call detail records that I analyzed. Those are not the ones that I analyzed.
No, I didn't say that these were in that form. Do you have those with you by chance?
I do not.
Okay, do you have any reason to dispute? Does that seem excessively high? Does that seem low? Or does it seem, would you have any valid reason to dispute that that's how many calls would have been made from that cell?
I don't think I have an opinion one way or the other.
Okay. But it would have been important information kind of to know, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily.
As part of your investigation, did you have any occasion to go by the Marathon gas station where one of the calls was made from?
Yes.
Okay. Just one second.
Just, all due respect, I guess I don't mind them showing the exhibit, but if we're going to have testimony, let's have testimony so they can hear too.
I agree, no secrets here.
I wasn't trying to be secretive. I want
I
to make
understand,
sure
and I wanted you to give me a chance to approach. but-
he understood where it's going. Okay. Detective, what I showed you is a map of the general Armada area. Would you agree, Agent?
Yes.
Okay, and on there is marked the spot where Ms. Millsap's body was found, correct?
Correct.
And the Marathon gas station in Armada, correct?
Correct.
And did that seem to be fairly accurate in terms of the distance that it showed?
I have no reason to dispute it.
Okay, and sir, from your own first-hand knowledge of having been out there, driven out there, what is that distance? What would you put that distance at?
Roughly a half mile.
Roughly half a mile, okay. And just for the record's sake, that's the Marathon gas station at Main and Fulton, or close to Fulton. Just 1 second. So as part of this investigation, there was a video taken at a Marathon gas station. Were you ever provided that, or were you ever provided an opportunity to look at that video?
I was familiar with the video. I didn't sit and view it in depth.
Do you remember looking at the time? You wouldn't remember offhand what the time shot showed at the time, do you?
No.
Okay. But it was on the 24th of July 2014, the relative period time, correct?
Yes, to the best of my recollection, yes.
Okay. I don't have anything further. Thank you, Detective, Agent Hess.
Thank you.
I don't have any redirect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your next witness.
Judge, Cynthia Edwards is our witness.
Ma'am, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth?
I do.
And what is your first name?
Cynthia
And Cynthia, your last name?
Edwards?
Would you please have a seat and speak loudly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you indicate where you're employed and what your job is?
Yes, I'm employed with the Michigan State Police, and I'm currently assigned to the Latent Print unit of the Sterling Heights Crime Lab.
And would you indicate what, I guess, training and experience you have that leads you to have that position?
I have my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have taken a correspondence course in fingerprint identification and classification through the American Applied Science Institute. I completed a 9-month, 11-module course through the National Forensic Science Technology Center, and I completed the training program through the Michigan State Police in the Latent Print unit to become a certified latent print examiner.
You are currently a certified latent print examiner?
Through my agency, I am, yes, correct.
And how long have you held that position?
Going on 7 years.
And where do you primarily work out of? Where's your office?
Sterling Heights?
Have you testified in court before?
I have.
And have you been qualified as an expert in your field before?
I have.
And is your field latent print analysis, or comparison analysis, or how would you term your field?
Latent print examination.
Latent print examination. You've been qualified in the Macomb Circuit Court?
I have.
In the district courts of the county?
In one district court in Wayne County.
All right. At this point, Judge, I would move to have my witness qualified as an expert in her field.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
The jury will consider her as an expert. Thank you.
To begin with, can you talk about an underlying theory of fingerprints in terms of one person and another person having same or different fingerprints?
The theory of latent prints is that the ridge structure present on the soles of our feet and the palms of our hands are unique and persistent for each person.
And to you, it probably means one thing, maybe to everybody else. When you say the palms of our hand, are you talking about all the way out towards the fingertips?
That's correct.
Okay. In this case, did you have an opportunity or an occasion to perform both some fingerprint latent lift, I guess attempts to lift latent lifts, and then to make comparisons?
Yes, I did.
And would you talk about what a latent fingerprint or latent lift is? What does that mean?
A latent fingerprint is generally the unintentional recording of the friction ridge skin on a surface after a touch.
Okay, so what does that mean?
The ridge structure, or the ridge structure that we have on the palms of our hands and the soles of our feet, it's made up of ridges and furrows, and the ridges are made up of pores. The pores exude perspiration, And also if we touch different things, or like our face, we get oils on our skins also, this residue is what's left behind when we touch a surface.
There have been much, I guess, question and answer as it relates to other forensic evidence about whether or not we always leave a trace. And DNA was the question earlier in the case. What about fingerprints? Every time we touch something, do we leave a fingerprint that later on law enforcement could come along and lift?
And not necessarily, no.
And would you explain how it is that you actually try to obtain a latent lift from an object to then have something you can later compare in your laboratory?
The first part of the process is to visually examine whatever the item is. If we can't see any ridge structure, we do another processing technique. Sometimes it's just to use lighting to see if we can see ridge structure. If that doesn't work, we have other processing options available. The most common is superglue, where the item is placed in a sealed superglue tank with humidity, and what happens is the superglue is heated and turns into vapors. The vapors adhere to the moisture on the surface of the item if there's residue left behind. It adheres to that moisture and then adheres to itself, like polymerization is what it's called.
What's
and
it
then
called?
Polymerization.
Polymerization, okay.
And this like fixes the print so that when we take it out of that tank, we can visibly see the ridge structure.
So on a block of metal or something, if there was a print that might be found by the superglue analysis, you would actually then be able to take it out and see it with the naked eye?
That's correct.
And then how do you take it from that item, or do you work directly from the item, or do you transfer that print to something else?
We transfer it to something else to preserve it.
How do you do that?
Depending on the item and the surface and the ridge structure, first it has to be of comparison value, because you could leave some ridge structure on an item when you touch it, but there might not be enough information in that ridge structure. And information means we have characteristics and details in our fingerprints or our sole prints. There's ridge endings or short ridges, bifurcations where a ridge would split. So we have all of these details. And that's what we use when we do a comparison, is all of the details and the information that's available. So if I do my exam after the superglue analysis or the superglue fuming, and I see that there isn't enough ridge structure, there's not enough information, then I'm finished with that area. But if I see there's enough information to continue, I can photograph it, or I can, again, depending on the surface, I might enhance it with dye stain, where it becomes fluorescent and I can see it a little bit better. Or we can powder it and then lift it with a clear tape and then have that to preserve it and then use for comparisons.
All right. And comparisons then, maybe again similar to DNA, are from a known donor of a latent structure, I guess, correct? Is that right? And would you make a compare? I mean, you probably do comparisons to unknowns, but also to known impressions.
Correct, yes, yes. This latent is an unknown impression.
All right. The goal, though, ultimately, frequently, is to take a known impression and see if you can positively identify it as being consistent with a latent print.
That's correct.
Okay. But also, I would imagine in some cases you're trying to see if latent lifts are consistent maybe from different items, even if you don't know who the donor is. Is that also accurate?
No, my job is to do comparisons to make identifications.
Okay. In this case, there were 3 records that you created. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
We have record 3, record 29, and record 34. And by the way, those records are all the state police laboratory work. Yours are amongst those. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. In this case, and do you have your records in front of you, or do you?
I have them available if I could reach and get them.
Why don't you get them out so we can work through them?
Okay.
So record 3, you have, my word is known impressions from April Millsap, Austin Albertson, Alex Schultz, James VanCallis, and Donald VanCallis. Is that correct?
I did not have known impressions for Albertson or Schultz.
So So those were listed as individuals, but not finger and palm impressions supplied
Correct.
at that point.
Correct.
And then you received certain pieces of evidence, is that right?
Yes.
Going through those pieces, 7 ripped pieces of a clear plastic Ziploc bag,
Yes.
an iPhone,
Yes.
an iPhone case,
Yes.
and then we have finger impressions and palm impressions of April Millsap, indicating they came from the medical examiner's office.
Correct.
Your term is more, just to be consistent, right?
Yes.
All right. And your goal then in looking at the Ziploc bag, the iPhone, and the phone case is to develop latent prints. Were you able to do that in this case?
I was.
Would you indicate on what item or items you were able to do that?
I was able to develop 2 latent prints of comparison value from the phone case.
All right. What does of comparison value mean to you?
There's enough detail or information in the ridge structure available to be able to do a comparison to a set of known impressions.
All right. So did you take those latent prints then and try to make a comparison from the phone case?
Yes.
What did you find?
My results were inconclusive.
The next set of reports, well, let me ask you this then. Let's go back to the other, I guess, pieces of evidence. The Ziploc bag and the iPhone. Were you able to develop prints of comparison value from those items?
I was not.
Okay. Did you receive some additional known impressions as this case progressed, or what were believed to be known impressions?
I did.
Were some of those, who were they from?
Let's see. I received latent impressions for Jennifer Millsap, David Lichtenfeld, and Austin Albertson, and Clifton Morgan.
All right. And maybe I'm just reading this and it may be redundant. In record number 29, did you receive additional impressions for James VanCallis?
I did.
So that was additional for him.
Correct.
Did you go back then and reattempt, based on those additional prints that you received and the, I guess, more prints for James VanCallis, to try to identify the prints of comparison value from the phone case?
Yes, with the new prints I received, I did go back and do comparisons, yes.
And were you able to make any identification?
I was not.
Were your findings such that those individuals were excluded?
No.
What was your finding?
Inconclusive.
Okay. Mr. Sheik may have some additional questions for you. Thank you.
I don't have any questions for this witness. Thank you, madam, for your time.
Thank you.
Go right through the door.
Crystal Stadler, Your Honor. That's right.
Ma'am, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give me will be the truth? Yes. Crystal, how do we spell your first name?
Krystal.
And your last name?
Stadler, Stadler.
Okay, have a seat and speak loudly, please.
Good afternoon, Crystal.
Good afternoon.
All right. Once again, we are in a very large courtroom. It's a very intimidating setting. The microphone in front of you that is on the long pole actually does amplify, and so if you need to pull that toward you, fine. The jurors here need to hear. Everybody here needs to hear, so I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up. There will be times when I ask you to step down to look at photographs. At that time, again, ask you to keep your voice up at all time. How old are you, Crystal?
28,
What county do you currently live in?
Macomb County.
Are you married or single?
Single.
Do you have any children?
3.
Do you have a child with a gentleman by the name of James VanCallis?
Yes.
Do you see James VanCallis in court today?
Yes.
Would you point out where he is seated and describe an article of clothing that he's wearing?
Over there, black suit,
What color tie?
yellow.
I would ask the record to reflect the identification of the defendant, James VanCallis.
Good shot.
When did you, I guess, how old were you when you met Mr. VanCallis?
18, 19.
In the year of 2014, were you still dating Mr. VanCallis?
Yes.
Were you living with him at the time?
Yes.
At that time in 2014, how many years had you been with Mr. VanCallis?
About 8.5 years.
When you were living with Mr. VanCallis in 2014, where were you living?
Goodles.
Whose house, who owned the house in Goodles?
Brenda and Gino.
And Brenda and Gino are who?
James's mom and stepdad.
So James's mom lived there with her husband, his stepdad. Who else lived at the house?
Jim, me, my 2 kids, and James.
Okay, so when you say Jim, who is Jim?
James's dad.
When you say yourself, James, and you had another child besides the child that you had with
Yes.
James? Okay, so just that we get the name straight, Jimmy is your son
Yes.
with James?
Yes.
And at the time in 2014, approximately how old was he?
3.
You call the defendant in this case, Mr. VanCallis, you call him James?
Yes.
And you call his father
Jim.
Exactly, I guess, where in the house did you live?
In the mother-in-law suite.
While we're looking for... All right, if you would step down for just a second, we're going to do this a couple times, the lights can stay on. We're going to show you People's Exhibit number 24 and ask you to take a look at that. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm going to ask you to hold on to the pointer. You've got to keep your voice up now so that the microphones can pick up your voice and the jurors can hear. Is this the house that you were living in?
Yes.
Okay, is this in Goodles?
Yes.
All right. And Would you describe where you indicate the mother-in-law suite is?
Right here.
Okay, so that section right there. Where were the entrances into your part of the house itself?
These two right here, and then there was one in the house.
Okay, so you have two entrances right here?
There's three.
Three? Okay, so this entrance, this
Yep.
one, and this entrance?
Yep.
All right, you have to say yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're making it record. And then there's an entrance in the rear,
Yes.
and there's an entrance in front?
Yes.
And does Jim on the other side have his own entrance into his portion of the
Yes.
house? Okay. Have a seat. You can take that down. I guess I'm going to ask you to describe the relationship that you had with James back in the 2014, the year of 2014. First of all, did you have a driver's license?
No.
You were how old in 2014?
26, I think.
Did you have a driver's license when you turned 17 or 18?
No.
Was there ever a reason that you didn't get a driver's license?
No.
Did you have a phone?
When?
Did you ever have a cell phone, I guess?
Yeah.
All right. Did you have a cell phone when you met James VanCallis?
Yeah.
Did you have a cell phone in 2014?
No.
Why not?
He wouldn't let me.
What about a computer? Did you have a computer?
No.
Did James own a computer?
Yes.
Did you get to use that computer?
No, not often.
What about a walkie-talkie? How did you communicate with friends?
Through Facebook?
Did you have many friends?
No,
Why not?
because they didn't like him.
What about, we've heard, I guess, a little bit about the house itself. Did the house have electricity connected to it?
It did.
And then we've heard testimony about a generator.
Yeah.
What part of the house had electricity that we would consider being on the grid?
Half of it was on, like microwaves and stuff like that. The outlets, some of the outlets.
What about the portion of the house that you lived in?
Some of it was on, but not all of it.
What was on and I guess what wasn't on?
I think the refrigerator was on and like the oven and stuff was off.
Talk to the jury about the generator. What's this generator all about that we've been hearing about?
That's what ran like the big stuff, like ovens and the washer and the water.
Would you be able to wash the clothes anytime you wanted?
No.
Would you be able to use the toilet anytime you wanted?
Well, yeah, there was buckets of water there, yeah.
So essentially, the pump is not connected unless the generator's running?
Yeah.
So therefore, if you wanted to use the restroom, the toilet, how would you flush?
With the bucket of water.
So you had to bring buckets of water in manually.
Yeah.
What about if you wanted to use the computer during the day?
I couldn't.
Was there a home phone in there, in your portion of the house?
No.
If James was out, how would you communicate with him?
Through his mom or dad?
Did James have a phone?
Yes.
Did James have a driver's license?
Yes.
Did James have a computer?
Yes.
Did James have a car?
Yes.
Did you have a car?
No.
Why not?
Wasn't allowed.
Was that the same with the driver's license?
Yeah.
Was he controlling these aspects of your life?
Yes.
Did you ever have a job?
At some point, yes.
During the time that you were with him, did you have a job?
Yeah.
Did you ever know him during the time you were with him to have a job?
Maybe 1, 2, if that.
In the 8 years that you were
Yeah.
together? What type of jobs did you have?
I worked at Gilo's Pickles and Subway.
How would you get to and from work?
James's mom, well, when we were working there together.
Did you have a Facebook account?
Yes,
Did James have a Facebook account?
yes.
Was there something unusual about these Facebook accounts?
What do you mean?
Did you friend James?
No, I wasn't his friend.
So you're living with him, but you're not his friend on Facebook.
Yeah.
Who did that?
James?
Did you have a Facebook account?
Yes.
Could you use it when you wanted to?
No.
Did he monitor that Facebook account?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Did you have, I guess, any type of support system outside of your relationship with James and that immediate family?
Like my mom?
And what city did she live in?
Washington Township.
Where?
Washington Township.
How often would, I guess, you talk to her?
Not much.
When you communicated with her, how would you communicate with her?
Sometimes phone or through Facebook.
We've seen, and we'll see more photos in a second, of the computer that was on the desk in your room. Did you have a portable computer?
Yeah, a tablet. It was Brenda's.
Is that the item then you would use to communicate with your mother?
Yes.
And that would only be when the power was turned on?
Yeah, or the internet.
The internet? I guess in July 2014, in the mother-in-law suite that you were living in, were, I guess, renovations going on of some type?
Yes.
Would you describe, I guess, what was happening?
We were redoing our room.
And how were you redoing it, I guess?
Cleaning it out, getting rid of stuff.
You indicated that James had two vehicles. What is the, can you describe the vehicle with four wheels, I guess?
The Ford Explorer.
All right.
He was 119 in first. Pretty sure that was
All right, Rich, come on down for just a second. I'm going to show you people's exhibit number 119. Keep your voice up. Is that in the room that you and James occupied?
Yes.
Okay, keep your voice up.
Yes.
Is this the computer that he owned?
Yes.
We'd had some testimony this morning about some internet searches that were being done on that computer. Did that computer have a password, a code, before you could use it?
Yes.
Did you know that password or code?
No.
Okay. Did you do internet searches on looking for young girls trying to pick up older guys?
No.
Did you do any internet searches on how to pick up a young girl?
No.
Did you do any searches on how to talk to a young girl?
No.
Were you aware that these searches were being done in March and April and May and June and July of 2014?
No.
So you didn't sit down and do any of those searches?
No.
Were you aware that James was doing those searches?
No.
Were you aware that he was doing them early in the morning?
No.
What about late at night?
No.
Normally, what time did you go to bed?
11, 12.
Would that be in the same room that the computer was in?
What do you mean?
Was your bed in the same room
No,
that that
it was in the
computer
living
was
room
in?
at the time.
So that would be in a different, that was in a different room?
Yes.
Would you be allowed to monitor James's activities in this relationship?
No,
Would you be able to tell him, you can't go out, stay home with me?
no,
Would you tell him to get off the computer, it's time that he spend time with the kid?
no,
Did you have any sense of control in this relationship that you had with James?
no,
I'm going to show you People's Proposed Exhibit number 157, if you would look at it real quickly. Do you recognize that room?
yes,
Would you describe for the jury what you're seeing in that photograph first?
a bed, a bunch of stuff all over.
Is that then the room that you and James were living in the summer of 2014?
Yes,
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, we would move for the introduction of People's Exhibit number 157.
No objection, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
Going to point out to the, would you point out to the jury now what we're seeing here? I mean, it looks like it's a little bit of a mess. Was there, do I see the bed there?
this is where the bed was, right here.
Okay, and what's,
There's a couch right here.
all right. And where do the kids sleep?
Jimmy's bed was over here, Brendan's was over here.
All right, and what's over here?
I think shoes or something, I don't know.
All right, thank you. Just remain there. I'm going to show you People's Proposed Exhibit number 158 and ask if you recognize that photograph.
Yes,
Okay, what is that photograph of?
James in his car,
All right, and that's a, what type of vehicle?
Ford Explorer.
At this time, Your Honor, we have to show the sheet.
No objection, Your Honor.
It's 158.
158, I would move for the introduction. Thank you, Your Honor. All right. I'm going to ask you, so basically what we see is the Ford Explorer right here.
Yes,
Okay. Let's take a look at the shoes. Do you recognize those shoes?
yes,
What are those shoes?
shoes you wore every day.
Okay. The tennis shoes of some type?
Yeah, Jordan,
Okay. And how long did he own a pair of shoes like that?
a couple of years.
And you indicate that those were shoes he wore on a regular basis?
Yes,
Okay, we're going to hold that thought for just a few minutes. Did there come a point in time where, if we could go to the overhead again also, the People's Exhibit number 129. Could I ask you to, real quickly, if you would give me this square right here, Craig? We've blown up now the front of your home so that the jury can see the three doors. Is that the same vehicle
yes,
that we had seen in the other photograph?
yes,
Okay. And did he own a motorcycle?
yes.
When did he buy that motorcycle?
I think in the wintertime,
Of what year?
maybe 2013.
Okay. So in the summer of 2014, how long had he owned that motorcycle?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Did he buy it in the winter going into 2014 summer? Or
I
did he-
don't remember, I remember going and there was a really bad storm.
Okay. If we could just back out just a little bit, give me the original photo again, Craig. Now give me this section right here. I guess first of all, is there any oil on this cement?
No,
Is there any dog crap on this cement?
no,
I mean, there's a spot here, we don't really know what that is, but did you normally have dog crap on that part of the cement?
not close to the house, no.
Where would the dogs crap normally?
Down here or in the grass,
But in this area here,
no,
it's clear that other than what we don't know there's no oil and no visible dog crap going into the doors.
no.
All right? Just remain standing.
5-0.
I'm going to show you People's Exhibit number 150, which was introduced earlier through another witness. I'm going to ask you to take a look at that. Do you know what that is?
The bike motorcycle?
Okay.
Motorcycles?
And keep your voice up. Is that in the condition the bike was at the time that he purchased it?
Yes.
So in this photograph, we are making a record the jurors can obviously see, but this front fender here is white,
Yes.
all right? And this light here is white,
Yes.
and the cowling back here on this part of the fender is white,
Yes.
and this section here, which would look to be the gas tank, is white.
Yes.
The shock here is blue.
Yes.
The framing here is blue.
Yes.
Okay. Did James change the appearance of that bike?
Yes.
I think it's 22.
All right, just throw it up. We have a picture here of that bike has also been introduced now at number 22. Do you recognize this picture?
Yes.
So in other words, would you tell the jury, now show the jury what modifications he made on the motorcycle?
Change the color of this, he put a seat thing on there, and this, and painted this, the frame.
All right, so this is for the record. The frame is now black around the engine.
Or gray or...
Okay,
gray.
all right. The seat is now covered with a black covering that has a couple of letters with the word Suzuki and the lettering there. The cowl and the fender, which was white, is now black.
Yes.
The light cowling that was white is now black.
Yes.
Does this house I'm looking at, would you put the house back up again? In looking at this house, it looks like a fairly large house. Is there a garage?
No.
When you park your vehicle, you don't have a vehicle, when he parks his vehicles and the family park their vehicles, they park outside?
Yeah.
Where are the modifications being made? Where, it looks to me like those pieces were painted. Where do they get painted?
In the house?
So James does the painting in the house?
Yeah.
Does the work on the bike in the house or outside in the driveway?
Works outside, like changing stuff on it, like not painting, you do that in the house.
So again, the concrete here doesn't reflect any oil or any paint. Everything is done in a different place.
Yes.
Okay. Remain standing. Did you ever ride that motorcycle?
Yeah.
You can have a seat. Did you ever drive the motorcycle?
No.
Did you ever ride the motorcycle?
Yes.
Did James own a helmet?
Yes.
Did you own a helmet?
No, I used the other one he owned.
Okay. I'm going to hand you People's Exhibit number 21 and ask if you can recognize what that is.
James's helmet?
Did James own that helmet as long as he owned that motorcycle?
Yes.
Did James ride in the summer that motorcycle almost every day?
Yes.
When he rode that motorcycle almost every day, did he wear that helmet every day?
Yes.
Did he ever wear that other helmet that didn't have the face shield on it?
No, I don't think so.
So essentially that was his helmet. He wore it continuously and you recognize that as his helmet?
Yes.
Did you ever see him clean this helmet?
No.
Did you ever see him take hand sanitizer and clean his helmet with a sock?
No.
So in the whole time that he had this helmet, during the time that he owned that motorcycle, you never saw him clean this helmet,
No,
inside or out?
no.
Let's go to the day of July 24th of 2014. Are you living with James?
Yes,
And your son with James and your other son are living there?
yes,
Do you recall how the day started off?
all right. All right, I guess.
Okay. Do you recall what you were doing or what James was doing? Was there any interaction between the two of you?
Not really.
I guess, how is the status of the relationship at this point? Are the two of you getting along okay?
Yeah,
In the sleeping arrangement that you had, are you and James sleeping together in the same bed?
yes,
And the two boys are sleeping in the same room?
yes,
So even at this time, you're together in that way?
yeah.
Does there come a point in time when James leaves the house?
Around 4:35.
Do you know where he's going?
Donnie's,
Would you describe how he is dressed when he leaves the house?
a white t-shirt with football logos on it, and gray camel pants, and his black and white shoes.
Okay, hold on. Would you put up People's Exhibit number 126, please? If you would come back down. This is People's Exhibit number 126, a shirt that had been testified to as previously. Do you recognize that shirt?
Yes,
And is that the shirt that James was wearing when he left that day?
yes.
Going to introduce People's Exhibit number 125 and ask if you recognize what's in this photograph. I don't have all of them in your file, take just a second.
Gray camel
Okay.
pants.
What is the item of clothing right in the middle?
His camel pants.
Okay, keep your voice up. His camel pants?
Yes,
Are those the pants he was wearing when he left that day?
yes,
Are those the pants you saw him wearing when he came back home?
yes.
All right, we'll ask a few questions about that in just a minute. What type of shoes was he wearing?
His black and white Jordan.
All right. Does he bring anything with him when he leaves the house?
A backpack.
Okay, going to show you People's Exhibit number 127. And would you describe what we have in there?
A backpack.
Is that the backpack that he brought with him that day?
Yes,
Can I hand you People's Proposed Exhibit? The one that's still in the box. 159. I want you to take a look at that for just a second. Do you recognize what it is I have handed you?
yes, shoe.
Okay. What is familiar about that shoe?
The shoes
You got to keep your voice up.
these were the shoes he was wearing. Well, not these ones.
But are these the same model as the shoes that he had in that photograph by the Ford Explorer that we had spoken about earlier?
Yes.
Are these a facsimile or a copy of the shoes that you indicated he wore on a regular basis during that time?
Yes.
And is this a copy of the shoes that he wore out that night?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm going to move for the introduction of People's Exhibit number 159, not as the shoes that he wore, but as a demonstrative sample of the style of shoe.
No objection.
You're admitted.
If you would you just hold these shoes like that so the jury can see the bottom tread pattern on those? Thank you. You can have a seat. Take that down, Craig. Thank you. You indicate he leaves the house approximately 4:35 o'clock. Does he come back almost immediately?
I'm not sure. He says he came back to see his dad.
Did you see him?
No.
How much time, I guess, would he spend with his dad during a regular day?
A lot.
Did he have any friends?
Not really.
Did he ever have any friends come over and sit around and drink, do things like that?
No.
What about his brother? We've heard his name is Donnie VanCallis. Did he and Donnie hang out a lot?
Yeah.
Would you be allowed to hang out with him and Donnie when they would hang out?
No.
Did Donnie have a girlfriend?
Yes.
Would you guys go out as couples?
Not really.
Would you ever really spend any time at all with Donnie and his girlfriend?
Maybe a couple times.
When he left, you did not see him come back?
No.
And what vehicle did he leave with?
The motorcycle.
Do you make any effort to contact him that evening while he's gone?
No.
Approximately what time does he come back home?
8:39.
And if you could, if you know, what's the sort of distance between Donnie's house and where you're staying in Goodall's?
About a half hour away.
Is it light or dark out when he comes home?
Dark. Or just getting dark.
Is there anything, I guess, unusual about him at that first time when you see him when he first arrives home?
No.
Does there come a point in time that evening where you find out that April Millsap was murdered on the Orchard Trail?
Yeah.
How do you find out about that?
Facebook.
Are you Facebooking at the time that the information, I guess, is placed on electronic media?
Yeah.
Where is, I guess, James when you discover this information?
Laying next to me in bed.
When James came home, let me just back up just a little bit. When James leaves, do you know why he was going to Donnie's?
To take a toothbrush thing over to him and I think get money.
And get money?
Yeah.
You had indicated they had the black and white shoes on that we see, the camo pants, the shirt, football shirt, and he had the backpack, he had the helmet, took the motorcycle. Does he carry any other clothing inside that backpack?
A hoodie sometimes.
Okay. And do you know what type of hoodie it is?
A Carhartt hoodie.
All right. I'm going to hand you People's Proposed Exhibit number 160. And ask you to take a look at that photograph, if I could. What is depicted in that photograph?
A Carhartt hoodie.
Is that consistent with the type of Carhartt hoodie that he owned at that time?
Yeah, but it's a darker one.
Okay. So at this time, Your Honor, we would move for the introduction of People's Exhibit number 160, not as the Carhartt jacket owned by Mr. VanCallis, but a similar one that we were able to find a picture of so that it would be consistent for the jury to understand what type of clothing we're talking about.
No objection, Your Honor, for those purposes.
Submitted.
All right, so just hold on to that picture. We're going to publish it. You don't need to step down. What you're indicating, in the photograph, it has the word Carhartt down the sleeve.
Yes.
And on the one that James owned, what was the color of that lettering?
White.
And the jacket that we have here seems to be a Bill Belichick style medium gray. What color, if you want it to be more accurate to the type that he owned, is different from that color?
Darker gray.
So it is gray, it's a darker gray, but that same style hoodie?
Yes.
With the writing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can take that down. When you're lying in bed and you've got, I would assume you're on the Facebook on that Kindle
Yeah.
device? And James is next to you. Do you mention anything about the murder to him?
I showed it to him, yeah.
What did he do when you showed it to him?
Took it and looked at it.
Does he say anything to you at this time?
No.
Does his behavior or anything like that change?
No.
When you guys go to bed, what does he sleep in?
Boxers. Or
Do you-
briefs.
Again?
Briefs.
All right.
Like boxer briefs.
Pajamas?
No.
Anything, any long pants of any type?
No.
Do you normally see his legs and his arms and shoulders every day?
Yeah.
Does something unusual happen? Now, we're talking about that Thursday night into Friday morning, that July 24th, into the 25th.
Like, what do you mean?
Do you and James remain in bed all night?
No.
What happens?
I wake up and see him cleaning his shoes.
Okay, now, let's just... Approximately what time of the morning do you wake up?
8, or like, what do you mean? Like, when I seen him?
You've indicated that he was cleaning his shoes.
Yeah.
This was in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
When you wake up at some point, is he in bed with you?
No.
Where, is he in the same room that the bed is in?
No.
Where is he?
In our room.
And that our room is that other photograph that we showed. Could we put that photograph back up? The one with the... if you would come down, please. I don't like to point. Would you just put your fingers out on the screen? Would you point out where he's seated?
Right here.
Okay, keep your voice up. So he's in that chair right there?
Yeah.
And how is he dressed when he's in that chair?
I don't think he had any clothes on.
What is he, all right, what is he doing as you approach him?
Cleaning his shoes.
Now, showing you the shoe from page number 140, exhibit number 159. Are these the shoes that he's cleaning?
Yes.
Okay. And what part of the shoe is he cleaning?
The outside?
Okay. Had you ever seen him clean his shoes before?
No.
Had you ever seen him clean oil off of his shoes?
No.
Have you ever seen him take these shoes or any other shoe and clean dog crap off of them?
No.
Is this unusual to you?
Yeah.
Do you say anything to him when you observe this behavior?
No.
Do you ask him any questions?
I asked him what he was cleaning, or why he's cleaning his shoes.
What did he tell you?
He was cleaning oil off them.
What did you think about that when he said that?
That was weird.
Okay. Were you happy or angry at this time?
Not happy.
Do you go back to bed?
Yeah.
Okay, you can have a seat again. Does James come back to bed at some point?
Yeah, I think so.
Does he say anything to you when he comes back to bed?
Yeah, that he messed up and he needed me to stand by his side.
When he first comes back into bed, has his demeanor toward you changed?
Yeah.
How is his demeanor now?
Lovey-dovey.
Was it that way when the two of you went to bed several hours earlier?
No.
When his mood like that changes, what does that mean to you?
He did something wrong.
Now, when he comes back to bed again, what does he say to you?
That he messed up and he needs me to stay by his side.
Do you say anything to prompt that? Do you ask him any questions about that?
No,
Do you ask him at that time what he means by that?
no,
Had he ever said anything like that to you before?
no,
Do you say anything or have any further conversation at this point?
no, not really.
Moving now to Friday morning, the 25th. Are you asked to wash any of his clothes?
Yeah, he wanted me to do a load of laundry.
Okay. Is that unusual?
Yeah,
Why?
because he never really wanted me to wash his clothes. He wore the same clothes all the time.
What were you asked to wash on the morning of the 25th?
The Carhartt hoodie and his pants and that shirt.
Did you have to wait for the power to be turned on to do that, or was the power turned on immediately so that you could do it?
I had to wait.
I could back up to the 24th for just a second. When James came home, what did he do when he first came home at 8:30 or 9 o'clock on the 24th?
I think he went to his dad's room.
How long was he there?
What do you mean?
How long was he in his dad's room?
Oh, a while.
Any interaction with you before he came back then to go to bed?
No.
So approximately what time do you wash those three items?
The next day sometime. I don't remember the time.
Are you allowed to use the dryer?
No,
Why not?
because the dryer wasn't hooked up, so we had to hang the clothes.
Is that typical throughout winter and summer?
No, we didn't, or it was because we didn't have power at the time.
So the power was turned on to do the washing, but the power wasn't turned on to allow you to do the dryer?
They didn't want to hook the dryer up because it took too much.
Too much power?
Yeah,
How do you dry his clothes then?
hang them.
If I could put 124 up. Please step down for just a second. Could you describe for the jury what room this is?
The bathroom?
And that's the bathroom that you shared with James and the two children?
Yeah.
Okay. I see a bucket here. What is this bucket of?
Put water in the flush toilet.
I'm looking at what's hanging there. What's hanging there?
Gray camel pants?
Do you hang those pants there to dry them?
Yes.
Is that what you did that day on the 25th? Put those pants up on, I guess, what would appear to be the corner
Yeah.
of the shower stall? And I'm looking over here at the sinks over here,
Yes.
but again, without any pump working, there are no faucets, there's no running water. You can have a seat. Did you find something unusual in the pants after you washed them?
No.
Did you find something unusual in the Carhartt jacket after you washed it?
Yeah,
What was it that you found?
like wadded up hair and like shavings of grass or like hay.
In looking at the area around the house there, you'd lived there for several years?
Maybe 3 years, I want to say.
Was this debris, let's start with the hay, consistent with any of the debris natural to around that house?
No.
How many dogs live at that place?
I think 5 or 6.
5 or 6 dogs and pigs?
Yeah,
How many pigs?
2.
Any cats?
Oh, no.
So, do you know the difference between human hair and dog hair?
Yes,
Do you know the difference between human hair, dog hair, and pig hair?
yes.
The hair that you saw that you pulled out of the Carhartt jacket, was that consistent with dog hair?
No.
Was it consistent with your hair?
Yeah,
Was it unusual to you, I guess, then?
yeah.
What did you do with it when you pulled that clump out?
Put it on the bathroom sink.
Why?
I don't know. Because I couldn't do nothing with it. Get a hold of no one or nothing.
Did you tell James about it?
No.
Did you ever throw that debris out?
No.
Did it disappear?
No, I just left it there.
Okay. police come to James's house, your house, that evening on the 25th?
Yes.
Approximately what time?
I was sleeping when they came. He said 11:30.
Were you awakened?
Yeah, I got woke up.
All right. Who did that?
James,
What did he ask you to do?
to come outside because the police were there.
Did you go outside with him on the porch?
Yes.
Was there a place for you to, I guess, was there a chair for you to sit on?
No.
Was there any room for you to sit?
No.
Where are you, I guess, when you're on the porch with everybody that's out there?
Leaning down over on this side of the door.
Next to James?
Yeah.
Are you questioned at all by the police that evening?
No.
You're listening to the conversation that's going on?
Yes.
After that conversation, do you talk to James at all?
No.
Is there a point in time where James talks to you about tennis shoes?
That was everybody in the house. He was telling that too.
Okay. What was he telling to everybody in the house?
To tell him that he was wearing K-Swiss shoes.
Was he wearing K-Swiss shoes that night?
No.
Was he asking you if you were questioned by the police to say that he was wearing K-Swiss shoes?
Yes.
The shoes that I showed you in exhibit number 159, the black and white Jordan, did you see them on Saturday, the 26th?
No.
Was there something else in your house that was missing that morning?
A shoebox.
I'm going to hand you people's proposed exhibit number 161 and ask if you can recognize what is in that photograph.
Our bedroom.
And does that bedroom also then depict the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Is that picture consistent with what your bedroom looked like on that July 26th of 2014?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, we move for the introduction of People's Exhibit number 161.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, come on down if you would, please. All right. There is a refrigerator in there. Would you point out what that refrigerator is? Okay. On the morning of July 26th, is there something different about that refrigerator?
The box is gone off the top of it.
What type of box is that?
A shoe box, a Swiss box.
And what was in that shoe box when it was on top of the refrigerator?
All my paperwork that's on this chair.
Where was that paperwork then after that shoe box was removed?
On the chair.
Did you ever see that shoe box again?
No.
Did you ever see the Jordan shoes again?
No.
What about the Carhartt jacket? You washed that Carhartt jacket. You can have a seat, thank you. You washed that Carhartt jacket, correct?
Yes.
Leave that up for just a second. Did he wear that Carhartt jacket on Saturday the 26th?
Yeah.
Did he wear it on Sunday the 27th?
I think so, yeah.
Did you ever see it after that?
No.
Did you know whatever happened to that jacket?
I think it got thrown away.
So essentially the Carhartt jacket's thrown out, the shoes are missing, and you washed the other two items of clothing.
Yes.
Come on down if you would, Crystal. We're going to blow up this photograph here of the items on the table, and I see a bottle of hand sanitizer there. Do Do you know what James was using that for the night between the 24th and the 25th?
Clean the shoe.
That's the item that he was cleaning the shoes with?
Yes.
And what type of rag was he using?
Sock.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. We're going to put exhibit number 71 up on the screen, but you don't need to stand up just yet. I'm going to show you that picture. That was a picture that Chief Smith indicated was a photograph taken of him, of James, the day that he was arrested. I guess I'm going to ask a couple of questions. The length of his hair, is that the length of his hair that it was on that Thursday, July 24th?
Yes,
Did he have that mustache
yes,
on July 24th? Did he have that sort of stubble on July 24th?
yes,
Did he have that, I guess, goatee of some type on July 24th?
yes,
So there hadn't been any haircut between the Thursday and that following Wednesday?
no,
There hadn't been any real change in his appearance?
no.
Now, I'm going to hand you people's proposed exhibit number 162. You recognize what's in that picture?
James's leg,
Okay, speak up.
James's leg,
James's leg. You got to keep your voice up, okay? I'm
Okay.
sorry. And do you recognize what is pictured in that picture on James's leg?
cuts,
Is that picture an accurate representation of what you saw on his leg on July 24th or 25th?
yes,
Okay, at this time, I would move for the introduction of People's Exhibit number 162.
No objection, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
Please step down. Did he have these injuries on his leg before he left that night on July 24th, that Thursday?
Not this one.
Okay, so he had that one?
As far as I know, yeah.
All right, now there was some testimony earlier, some information presented in opening statement. There are some dog cages in the back of the house there?
Yeah.
And around that time, had James been cleaning those dog cages out?
Yeah.
Do you recall whether or not he received any injuries or bloodied himself in any fashion
No.
that evening? Okay, but you indicate that when he left that night, that injury was not there?
Yeah, it wasn't there.
When did you see that injury?
Later on,
Okay, later on when?
like when he came home.
Okay, so when he came home, when he puts his boxer shorts on to go to bed, you see that injury?
Yeah.
Do you ask him anything about that injury?
Yeah, he said he did it doing the dog cages
Okay, but did you believe him?
at that point. Yeah.
Okay, but was that injury there when he left from the night before?
No.
Had he cleaned the dog cages that day?
Yeah, he was out there.
Okay, so you don't know when those injuries occurred?
No.
Thank you. Your Honor, may we approach?
We can go one outside if you want.
Yes.
Thank you.
come with me.